Many years ago, in the ancient town of Anedo, there lived two friends named Chioma and Ifnaya. They were like fish in the water that cannot survive without each other. They were always together. They had always been friends since childhood. They were the kind of friends that made people stop and wonder if God made a mistake by creating them separately. From the moment they met in nursery school, their connection was instant. If Nanya, the bold and outspoken one, had always defended Shioma, who was quiet, gentle, and reserved. They were inseparable. They shared their lunch together, did their homework together, and made childhood promises that seemed unbreakable. Their mothers were also close friends. This made their bond even more stronger. Chioma, if Naya, go and fetch water, one mother would say, and they would giggle and run to the village stream together with their buckets, pretending to be princesses fetching water from a magical stream. As they grew older, their friendship only deepened. They attended the same primary school, the same secondary school, shared their deepest secrets. They talked about their crushes and spent weekends at each other's houses. If Nanya, when we grow up, we will live in the same estate, Shioma said as they laid on her bed, staring at the ceiling. Of course, we will even marry best friends. If Nanya giggled, twisting her braids in her fingers. That way, we can always be together. If Naya smiled, her heart swelling with love for her friend. She never doubted if Naya's loyalty. They had each other's back, and that was all that mattered. By the time they got to university, nothing had changed. They attended the University of Nigeria in Nsukka, where they studied different courses. Chioma was studying business administration and Ifnanya in mass communication, but despite their different courses, they did everything together. They studied for their exams together. Life in the university brought new experiences. It brought new friends and new relationships. But in all, their friendship remained their greatest treasure. Even when men came into the picture, they promised never to let a man come in between them. We are sisters and we won't allow any man come in between us, Shoma would always say. And if Naya would nod, holding her hand, yes, you are right. I don't think the man that would even come in between us have been born. They both laughed, but it was a promise that could have lasted forever. But promises were compromised, especially when tested by jealousy and greed. When they graduated, they moved over to Lagos for greener pasture, and that was where Shioma met Obinna at a mutual friend's birthday party. Obinna was rich, confident, and handsome. He was the kind of man that every woman prayed for. The first time they met, Shioma felt an instant connection that made her heart race. Obinna approached her with a warm smile. Hi, I'm Obinna. I couldn't help but notice from a distance. You are beautiful and you have a warm smile that melted my heart. Chioma blushed, as she was not used to such direct compliments. Thank you, she said shyly. Obinna talked smoothly and their conversation were engaging, and he knew how to make her laugh. By the end of the party, they exchanged phone numbers, and within weeks, they were already drowning in love for each other. If Nanya was happy for her friend Shoma, this your guy is a catch. Not only is he handsome, he's also rich and ambitious. My friend have hit the jackpot oh, Shoma giggled, her heart filled with excitement. I know, right? He's amazing, Ify. He treats me like a queen. Like he typically worships the ground I walk on. Are you serious? Ifeoma asked. Of course. I am, Shoma replied. My friend, you are lucky. Oh. Hmm. God, when will you give me my own man? Or am I a spoon? Shoma said, Oh, if Naya, my friend, don't be like that. You know that definitely one day yours will come your way. So don't bother yourself, okay? Shoma said, Okay, oh, let me wait. If Naya replied, Obina continued to shower Shoma with love, attention, and expensive gifts. They went on a weekend getaways. He surprised her with gift deliveries and romantic dates. Their love was the one every girl prayed for. Ifunanya, who had always been Shoma's biggest support, had always cheered her on, but slowly, Ifunanya's heart began harboring jealous thoughts. Why must he always be Shoma? Am I not beautiful enough to attract such men? Ifunanya thought to herself. Ifunanya always saw how Obinna opened car door for Chioma, how he heard her waist possessively and whisper sweet things into her ear. She found herself thinking, why can't I have a man like this? Why must it be Ifunanya? She immediately dismissed the feeling, saying Chioma is her best friend and she was supposed to be happy for her. But as time passed, envy grew more inside like a slow burning fire. One evening, Ifunanya was at home scrolling through her phone when she heard a knock. When she opened, it was her best friend Chioma. Ify, guess what? Obina proposed to me and I said yes, she said, shouting in excitement. Wait, what? Ifunanya stood shocked for a moment. Yes, he did. I'm so happy that finally I'm getting married, Chioma said, admiring her engagement ring. Wow, this is huge. I'm so happy for you, my friend. Ifunanya forced a smile. As weeks rolled by, they started planning for their marriage ceremony. Chioma invited Ifunanya over to her house one evening to help her plan her introduction ceremony. As they sat on the living room floor, laughing and scrolling through phone, looking for bridals inspiration pages on Instagram. Ify, I can't believe I'm getting married, Chioma said, beaming with smile. Obina is my dream man. Ifunanya forced a smile. Her heart tightened. Yes, you are so lucky, my friend. When she left Chioma's house that evening, the word "you are lucky, my friend" echoed through her mind. Why does it always have to be Chioma? Why does it have to be her that gets the perfect men, while I get the useless ones that always use and dump me? Her jealousy grew darker. What if Obina was meant for me and Chioma only happened to meet him first? I have to do something before it gets too late, she thought. Fate seemed to have agreed with her. Then, one evening, Ifunanya and Obinna unexpectedly ran into each other at a lounge. Chioma had traveled to visit her family, and Ifunanya had gone to the bar with a few of her friends to have a drink. Ifunanya, what a surprise, Obinna said, flashing a friendly smile. She smiled back, her heart pounding. Obinna, what are you doing here? She asked. I came to hang out with my friends. And you? What are you doing here? Oh, me? I came to have drinks with my friends, she said. Do you mind if I join you? Chioma asked. Oh no, I don't mind. You can come over since my friends are yet to be here, Obinna said. As they sat together, they talked and laughed. And they drank like old friends. From one drink to two, and then three. After some moments, their conversation became flirtatious, and if Naya noticed Obina's eyes glaring with interest, she brushed it off, saying maybe it was the alcohol, or maybe it was the tension that had been built between them. But when he leaned in and whispered, You are beautiful, and I think I made a mistake in choosing your friend. What do you mean, Obinna? Shoma is my friend, and I cannot betray her like this. Ifeoma said, pretending to care for her, but deep down, she was the happiest woman on earth. Ifunanya, I know she's your friend, but I have to confess this. Each time I see you, I always have a double mind of marrying your friend, Obinna said. At this point, Ifunanya didn't stop him again. Instead, she let herself fall into the moment. And that night, when they got back to Obinna's apartment, they both did the unthinkable. And that was how their secret affair began. They started having secret dates and meetings. Chioma began to notice something odd in Obinna's behavior. He is always on his phone, not really interested in anything that has to do with their wedding preparations. He started ignoring Chioma's calls with the excuse of being busy at work. At first, Chioma didn't think much about it. She brushed it off, saying maybe he's just stressed out. Chioma went to see her friend Ifunanya and she complained to her of his recent behavior. Ife, I don't understand my fiancé again. He acts weird these days and seems not to be interested in our marriage preparations. I am worried, Ife. You don't have to be worried. Maybe he's just busy. Don't push it too hard. Sooner or later, he will come around. Trust me, Ifunanya said, consoling her friend. However, their secret affairs went on. And then one day, while Ifunanya and Obinna were in their secret meetings, Obinna said with a serious face, Ife, I don't think I can continue this double life. I don't love Chioma the way I thought I did. Her heart raced. What are you saying, Obinna? He took her hands. I want to be with you, Chioma. Her breath caught. This was actually what she wanted, wasn't it? But, Chioma, she whispered. Don't worry, I will handle it. Obinna said, I will call off the engagement. Are you serious? Ifunanya asked, raising her eyebrow. Yes, I'm really serious. I really want to be with you, Chioma. You complete me. Obinna said, holding her hand. 2 weeks later, Chioma called Ifunanya on the phone sobbing. Obinna ended things with me. Ifunanya swallowed hard, gripping her phone. What? Why? He said that he doesn't love me enough to marry me, Chioma cried. I don't understand what you mean. He said that to you? Ifunanya asked, pretending not to know beforehand. Yes, he said that to me, Chioma replied with tears flowing down her face. I am finished, Ifunanya. What will I tell my parents? My friends will surely mock me, Chioma wailed. Ewo, I'm so sorry to hear this, my friend. Don't worry, everything will be fine. Don't cry, okay? Obinna think you have lost him, but believe me, he is the one that lost. Ifunanya said, consoling her friend. You know what? I'm coming over to the house. Ifunanya rushed over Chioma's house to console her. Don't worry, my friend. The one meant for you will come, Ifunanya said, hugging her tightly. Days passed. Chioma remained in agony of Obinna's betrayal. Why Ifunanya was always there pretending to be her friend, unknown to her that Ifunanya was the cause of her problem. After some weeks, Chioma slowly began to pick up her broken pieces. Then, one day, as Chioma was going through her phone, she saw a wedding picture of her best friend with her ex-fiancé. She was shocked and couldn't believe her eyes. Wait, I must be dreaming. She wiped her face and pinched herself to be sure she was not dreaming, but unfortunately, she wasn't. She quickly dialed Obinna's number, but the number said, the number you are calling is not available. She tried again and got the same response. It turned out that Obinna had blocked her line. She called her friend Ifunanya to get some response, but Ifunanya's number was equally not available. No, Ifunanya cannot do this to me. We are best friends. She can't betray me like this, Chioma cried. She was so devastated. The humiliation and betrayal cut so deep in her heart. Of all the women in town, It was Ifunanya, my best friend, that Obinna chose to betray me with, she cried bitterly. Meanwhile, the wedding of Ifunanya and Obinna was nothing short of grand. The ceremony was held in one of the most luxurious event centers in Lagos, and top dignitaries, politicians, celebrities are in attendance. Everything about that day screamed wealth: an important floral arrangement, designer wedding gown, and a massive cake that could feed an entire village. If Nanya felt on top of the world, she had won. She had the man she had always wanted, the luxury, and the life she had always dreamed of. But as she sat in the bridal suit, she felt a strange emptiness. She shook her head, pushing the thought aside. It was too late for regret. She had made her choice, and today she would become Mrs. Ifunanya Obinna Okafor. As she walked down the aisle, her heart pounded with excitement. Obinna stood at the altar smiling, looking so charming in his elegant suit, his hands neatly placed in front of him. Within moments, the ceremony proceeded without a hitch, and soon they were pronounced husband and wife. The guests shared, and the couples shared their first kiss, but perfection was an illusion. Married life was glamorous. Obinna took her on an expensive honeymoon to Maldives, showered her with jewelries, and filled their mansion with designer furniture. She was the envy of every woman in town. Months passed, and cracks were already showing. It started with Obinna's secrecy. He would disappear for days without explanation, returning home late at night with nothing but vague excuses. I went for a business meeting, he would say, brushing her off. She ignored the red flags at first. After all, he was a wealthy businessman. He would always be involved in business deals. But when he started locking his phone and making silent calls in the dead of the night, her suspicion grew. One evening, when Obinna left the house, if Naya decided to follow him, he had told her he was traveling to Abuja for a conference meeting. But instead, she saw him enter a private lounge in the Victoria Island. She waited outside, her heart pounding. Minutes later, a black SUV arrived and three men stepped out. Their presence were intimidating. She watched as Obinna greeted them with a handshake and a serious face. They disappeared into the building, and then she knew it wasn't just a business meeting. Her hands trembled as she clutched her steering wheel. Who did I marry? What is he doing with these men? She drove back home. As she was on her way home, her mind was replaying the sight she saw. She was confused, but was determined to find out what her husband was up to. It was a normal afternoon. Ifunanya was cleaning the study, a place where Obinna had been unusually paranoid about. He always locked it whenever he left the house, but that fateful day, he forgot to lock it. As Shoma stepped inside, her heart was racing. She started going through his text. Then she found something, a set of documents detailing transactions in offshore accounts with a huge sum of money being moved under different names and fake company registrations. Then realization hit her like a slap. Obinna was into money laundering. Her heart pounded as panic took over her. Suddenly, the door cracked open. She turned sharply, her stomach twisted with fear as she saw Obinna standing in the doorway. "What are you doing in my office?" His voice was calm, but his eyes were dangerously cold. She swallowed hard, trying to steady her voice. I was just cleaning." Obinna walked slowly towards her, his presence suffocating. He picked up the document and smiled. "You know, curiosity is a dangerous thing and could get you killed, my love." Ifunanya took a step back, her heartbeat deafening in her ears. Obinna, what is this? His smile faded. Something that has nothing to do with you and you shouldn't have seen, he said coldly. From that moment, if Nanya lived in fear, Obinna became more strict. He restricted her movements and access. He seized her phone and even hired security guards to keep an eye on her and to keep her from running away. Each night, she lay awake, wondering how she had ended up in this nightmare. A marriage that was supposed to be her fairy tale had become her biggest fear. She had married a criminal. Then, one night, she overheard a phone conversation between Obinna and one of his associates. The police are closing in on us. We need to disappear for a while. She was shocked and she quickly ran back to her room. She knew it was time for her to escape. The next morning, Ifnanya pretended as if everything was normal. She made breakfast, kissed Obinna goodbye as he left for the office, and acted like everything was fine. But as soon as Obinna left, she packed a small bag with only the essentials. She packed a few clothes, her passport, and some cash. She had no concrete plan, but her only goal was to run. When no one was watching, she tiptoed out of the house and ran like she was being chased by a masquerade. By noon, she was at the bus park. She boarded a bus going to Asaba. As the bus left, her hand shook as she gripped the seat. She didn't know where she was going. The only thing on her mind was that she had to be far away from Obinna. Every passing second felt like a borrowed time. What if he finds out? What if he tracks her down? She switched off her phone and ditched her SIM card, cutting all ties with the life she had once known. When she arrived at Saba, she rented a small apartment. It was a far cry from the mansion she had lived in, but it was safe. She settled in the apartment. She changed her name, started working in a small boutique as she tried to piece her life back together. But the weight of her past haunted her. She had betrayed her best friend, married a criminal, and now she was nothing but a fugitive on the run. Then, one night, as she scrolled through social media, she saw something that made her heart nearly stop. She saw a picture. It was her friend Shioma, dressed in a white, beautiful wedding gown, glowing with happiness, as she stood next to a man who looked at her like she was the most precious thing in the world, with a caption that reads, "Sometimes heartbreak is a blessing in disguise. Thank you, Lord, for blessing me with a greater love than I have ever imagined." Ifunanya's vision blurred with tears. Shioma had found true love and have moved on, but she was just a ghost of her former self, living in the shadows of betrayal and greed. She dropped her phone, covered her face with her hands, and wept for the friendship she had betrayed and destroyed, all because of a man and money. She wept for her carefree, normal life she could never get back. The weeks that followed Shioma's wedding were filled with endless congratulations and celebrations. The joy on her face was unmistakable. She was finally at peace and had moved on. For the first time, she felt genuinely happy. Her husband, Emmanuel, was a man of quiet strength, unlike Obinna, who thrived on attention and extravagance. Emmanuel was humble, honest, and deep loving. "Chioma, you are my answered prayer," he told her the night after their wedding. She smiled, "And you are also my second chance at love and my prayer answered." She leaned against his chest. As they settled into their new life, Chioma couldn't help but reflect on the past. the pain if Nanya and Obina had cursed her, but she realized that losing them had been the best thing that has ever happened to her. However, Ifeoma drowned in deep regret. Her days in Asaba were hopeless and boring. She woke up early, went to work at the boutique, and returned to her tiny, barely furnished apartment. She had gone from designer's clothes to a second-hand dresses, from luxurious vacations to barely affording a house rent. The glamorous and envy-inducing lifestyle she once had were gone. Some nights she laid in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying the past in her mind like a never-ending movie. Was it worth it? She would often ask herself. She had traded a long-time relationship for temporal wealth. She had abandoned the one person who truly loved her for a man who only saw her as a disposable commodity. Even the boutique job where she worked wasn't stable. The owner has hinted of letting her go due to low sales. If that ever happens, she will be left with no source of income. Chioma had moved on effortlessly and beautifully. She had found real love. Meanwhile, Ifunanya had lost everything. One evening, she sat in her tiny apartment staring at the sky, the neighborhood children running around playing, their laughter echoing in the air. She envied their innocence and freedom. But then, a sharp knock came on her door, pulling her out of her thoughts. She hesitated before opening the door. Her heart raced. She wasn't expecting any visitor. When she pulled the door open, she nearly collapsed in shock. Standing before her was a man she hadn't seen in over a year. It was one of Obina's former associates. His eyes were dark and unreadable. Madam Ifnanya, he said in a low voice, we have been looking for you. Her blood ran cold. I don't know what you are talking about, though. She stammered, stepping back. The man chuckled, shaking his head. That's not what I'm here for. She gripped the edge of the door, her knuckles turning white. I left Obina. I don't know where he is, and I don't know what you want from me. The man's expression hardened. That's not my problem. The authorities are after him, and you know what that means? It means that anyone associated with him, including you, is in danger. You need to disappear, madam. The man continued, and fast. If the police don't find you, someone else will. With that, he turned and walked away, leaving Ifunanya frozen in fear. She slammed the door shut, locking it quickly as she panicked. Her task wasn't done with her yet. She had thought that leaving Obina would free her, but now she realized that some mistake followed her forever. She was a fugitive, haunted by the ghost of her choices. Her heart pounded as she grabbed her small bag and quickly stepped out of the apartment in the dead of the night. I shouldn't have betrayed Shioma, she thought, but it was too late for regrets. Some betrayals can never be undone. However, Chioma lived happily ever after with Emmanuel. In this story, I learned that karma still exists and every action has a reaction. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to share your thoughts in the comment section. Subscribe and like till I come your way again with another story. Remain blessed.